over with a bet. That lip.
That's got to be the winner.
Gotta be crazy. You can't spoil crazy work.
I know.
But like,
Saquon's.
a lot
I mean,
It's 2 returns for touchdowns.
Hey, has it ever been like the same player all 3? Because Saquon might be.
That might be a good one.
Shady, was a Cowboys victory because it was an impressive victory, but all things considered, like given how it hurts them in the draft, was it actually a bad thing?
Before I answer that, I just want everybody to know this, right? No surprise. The Cowboys, they're a bad team. I just want y'all to know that. Now, what's the question?
Was the victory actually a bad thing?
I think it was a bad thing. Why are you trying to win? What are you trying to win for? My thing is, if I can get an earlier draft pick that's probably a lot better, more talent, why would I do that? What are you trying to win for? What does that get you? Because like, we had this argument last week, but my question is, like, if you win this game or you win some more games, you're not going to the playoffs. What are you trying to do here? Yeah. And then in the playoffs, if Dak's not going to be there for, because he's banged up for a while, right? So what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? Right? I think Mike, maybe he's trying to make a statement. Like, he knows it's not going to be the next year. He's trying to mess up the draft. It happens. Hey. We watched the Bears do that with
the
Lovie
Texans
Smith.
do it. Yeah, Texans did it.
Come on. So maybe it's something like that. I just didn't understand why you going out there trying to win this game so bad. It's not doing anything for you. Yeah. And we can act like, oh, well, we play the game to win the game. We've been around the league a long time. I'll play with certain coaches where they won't say them words. Yeah. But you see less carries. You see this backup get more playing time. You see this, the third string get, like, what's going on here? So, all I'm saying is I just don't understand why they won that game.
Let me ask you, because viewers at home are probably like, Shady, that's ridiculous.
True.
What could they have done differently? They didn't even travel Trayvon Diggs. They didn't even travel Zach Martin. Deron Bland was supposed to come back week 8. He still hasn't come back yet. Obviously, Dak Prescott is hurt. Brandon Cooks didn't play. So what else? I mean, I think they actually made as best an effort to prioritize their health.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't try to lose.
Won.
They made the best effort to prioritize their health. What else could they have done? Because they couldn't even have covered it up. Usually, you can go for 2 if you're down by 1 and try to win the game. And if you don't get it, you lose. They didn't even have that position because they were always winning. Yeah. The Commanders missed a kick. So, like, what else?
I mean, there's always ways you can hide stuff. Extra runs, you know what I'm saying? Instead of throwing it on certain downs, 2nd and 6, you run it 2 more times. Like, there's ways you get around it. I'll say this, though, like, as a player playing this game for so long and then being with the ownerships, being cool with them, they never talk about, like, tanking or losing. They never talk about that.
Never.
But all the top teams, though, you get these certain draft picks. If you don't, and they draft really, really well.
Yeah.
But there's times where, hey, man, we may need one more piece right here, right? And if we can get an earlier draft pick, why not go out there and get him? Because this season is already lost.
That is well said. And correction, Deron Bland did play.
He played.
Chase.
He got pancaked in the last. He played. Yeah, I watched. He got pancaked.
He got pancaked?
Yeah.
Chase, is the Cowboys win actually a bad thing?
Yeah.
But what do you think? You answer it because, like, for me, a win is never a bad thing. Like you are going to say, and I don't know what you're going to say, but usually you see how that means.
Usually,
We got to get this draft pick. We got to lose. We got to do this. We got to get high on. There's nobody in this draft that is going to change the way your franchise is going right now. I'm sorry. There is not one person.
You don't know that.
You don't know that. You don't know
Yes,
that.
I do.
Somebody that can
The
help,
only
but-
person that can change a franchise like that is a quarterback. You are tied to your quarterback. You have him for at least the next 2 years. He has a no-trade clause, and if you trade him, you have a $104 million cap hit. Don't even talk to me about the Broncos had $40 million. $104 million.
That's 2 Russell Wilsons.
You can't, you cannot walk away from this guy. Look, for me, I'm a competitor, and I get as a franchise, but when you playing up all these backups, you just said all the people they had out. You have your backup quarterback, their number 2 receiver, without DeMarcus Lawrence, without all these guys, and you see Micah out there rolling and balling and showing effort and showing competitiveness. And you guys laughed at me when I said it can be momentum for next year, but when your best guy is out there playing his butt off on the road in a division opponent, to me, that matters. Now, Shady, don't you have the little flashlight and like you do the shine in the light, like looking funny in the light right now? The Commanders need to be on that. Like, I know we're talking Cowboys. You need to get the little flashlight there. You looking funny in the light, because they are.
Not only do you play to win the game, you got a coach who probably is not going to be there next year. Like, and they are still in the building, grinding and working hard, because there's a lot of coaches in that building that's families, right? That you're looking at, we might be changing schools, we might, Like, there's pride in this. You have your star players out there playing. You have your best player on offense in CeeDee Lamb out there playing, catching passes, getting beat up, still playing. You got your best pass rusher on defense, best defensive player out there, Micah Parsons. Like, you're trying to win the game. You prepare all week to win the game. Listen, I understand. Get the highest draft pick. Man, forget all that. As players, we don't never think about that. When you step out there in between them lines, you are trying to play your best football and win the game. What the GM and the owner and all that may be thinking about, that's on them. But as players, when we are preparing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, putting in install, we trying to win the game, man. You going out there trying to win. They lost 5 straight. At one point, you got to get tired of losing and stop caring about draft picks and all that. I was actually proud of the Dallas Cowboys because we really stood up here, and the Dallas Cowboys have really been a joke. Right? You're laughing on the sideline when you're getting blown out. Yeah. You're in clubs after the game when you're getting blown out. You're talking about the coach. Your quarterback hurt. You're out there with a bunch of backups, and you go out there and who we think is a good football team or was playing good football in the Commanders, a division opponent. I was actually proud of Coach Mike and the Dallas Cowboys for finding a way to get that done.
Let's have an honest conversation then, because as players, which we all have been, I agree with everything you said. Everything. I mean, the fact that the Cowboys went out there, still fought, got a dub, shout out to him. Kevontae Turpin likely solidified himself as an all-pro returner just off that play. CeeDee Lamb still doing what he can do. Micah Parsons getting his numbers. But there's the first floor facilities and there's the second floor facilities.
Mindsets are different.
And on the second floor facilities is where the coaches' offices are, the owners' offices are, the ticket sales in that department, and the general manager's office. The Cowboys' next 3 games, Giants, Bengals, Panthers.
They're going 3-0, Doug.
Great. And if they win, what do they win?
They might go
That's
to the playoffs.
the problem. No, they can't go to the playoffs.
They don't have a top 10 pick anyway.
But before this game, they had a number 9 overall pick. After this game, now they're sitting at 11th. If you beat the Giants and you beat the Bengals and you beat the Panthers, the only question, James, is for Jerry Jones, not for Micah. Micah, go win. But for Jerry Jones, if you win, what do you win? That's what my parents used to always tell me before ever getting in a fight. If you fight him and you win, what do you win?
Can I ask you a question, Acho?
Yes, sir.
What do the Dallas Cowboys need? Because you're not getting a quarterback. Usually you want to be up there in them top 5 and all that because you want to get your quarterback. You're not getting a quarterback. Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and is going to be. So who are you going to get?
I think you need a running back, but you don't need to get that in the first round.
You don't need that.
You need a number 2 wide receiver.
Okay.
And that you can for sure get in the first round.
And that you can get at 29.
You can easily get.
You understand what I'm saying? So the Dallas Cowboys have good players on their team. It's not like they're the Carolina Panthers. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. Like, they have good players. So what they need, you can get and get a really good player.
So you don't think the Dallas Cowboys need a lot? You think they just need a little bit?
I think the Dallas Cowboys should be aggressive in free agency of what they need, and then you go in the draft. If you didn't get your number 2 receiver that you needed, or you didn't get your running back, then that's what you address in the draft, and you can get that at where they're going to be picking.
You can't live in free agency because you got a lot of money already out there, and you still got to pay people.
But usually when
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but they're not super far off. Like some of these teams that are not having win the record.
Because a new head coach is coming in. Like, I respect your guy, but a new head coach coming in. Usually they build the first year or so through free agency. There's some guys in free agency, the running back market and the receiver market, that you can get a $10 million number 2 receiver. You have that money, right? And you can get a $6 million a year running back that can at least be a starter. Like, they don't even have, like, Rico Dowdle's, he's having a good year. I don't want to say anything about it, but you can do that through free agency. I get what you're saying with this draft capital. They're probably going to take an offensive lineman. Let's be real.
You can get that where they go.
You know what I mean? Like, they're probably going to take an offensive lineman because that's who they build from. So, they're not that far apart.
But while I disagree with Charles, is because the Cowboys, in recent history, they draft really, really well.
Yeah.
So if we draft really, really well, and a lot of our star players, we actually groom them guys, pick them out of college, and put them on our team and develop them, why not get a higher draft pick and then hire first round, hire second round, and then I can draft even better? Because I'm known for doing this.
But my thing, Shady, that's to our point then. Like, who is better than Micah? Like, they didn't have these...
But you say Micah now because we know who he is. But
I'm saying they drafted him and they didn't have these top 5, top 10 picks.
I mean, Micah went with 11, 12?
I know, but you telling me, like, the Cowboys draft really well?
Because my thing is, when you guys say, like, oh, well, who's in the draft that can really change the franchise? We can't say that because I don't know how you're going to be when you get to the league.
No question.
For me, only quarterbacks do it, and pass rushers.
I mean,
but we don't know which one of them
pass
quarterbacks is good or bad.
And we're not even sure if they're good.
But I'm saying they could come out and be...
It's a fascinating conversation because not only if you do tank and you do lose, think about it from that perspective. If there's no guy if they get a top 5 pick, there's no guy that they're saying, hey, I want a top 5. Trade back and get more picks. No, and I agree with that. That's why it's a fascinating conversation because a top 5 pick, you can get 3 or 4 picks.
But they draft well. When you got to see that draft well, it's like to draft. So there's some things that don't draft well. So when it's time for them to draft, you don't really care.
I guess the only issue is like in the last question, and then we got to move on, is Cowboys finish the season and they end up going 8-9 instead of going 5-12.
Yep.
8-9, James, like what good did that do?
8-9 puts you in the position to get what you still want.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. They don't need a quarterback. The only time you want to be in the top 5, man, is if you need a quarterback or it's a legit pass rusher or something out there. They have all of that.
It's funny I say it when I look at the Eagles. Look at that team on defense. Look at them on offense, right? We got some good pieces from free agency. Everything else is drafted there.
No doubt. Same with the Cowboys.
That's how the Cowboys are built, though.
But I'm saying, so now when I look at the Eagles, like on defense, like, yo, our secondary, we drafted them dudes. Some of the guys up front, we drafted them dudes. Linebackers, we drafted them guys. So now all the money's not over there, but we still getting big production like we paid them a lot of money. You get what I'm saying?
It's a fascinating.
But that's the same thing the Cowboys doing. The Cowboys is drafted and developing, so that's why.
How? Because they losing.
But the difference.
They're losing, but
the
players they drafted is good.
You need more help.
It's interesting. Andy, you have to remind me, after the Eagles struggled in 2020, I think they went 4-12. They got rid of Carson Wentz. I think they leveraged draft capital to get A.J. Brown. Like the Eagles didn't get 8-9 or something because they were so bad. They leveraged that draft capital and turned a bad season into a great season. Cowboys did the same thing when Tony Romo got hurt. It'll be fascinating to see.
The Cowboys have the 3 premier positions. So they have quarterback, they have pass rusher, and receiver. They need some secondary pieces. They don't need you to draft high for that.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.